Hello, all you ghosts and goblins out there. I'm Andrew,
I'm Ashton.
And I'm Sean.
and we are the Night Scholars, exploring the mystifying world of cryptids, ghosts, ghouls, and all things supernatural. Today, we are talking about everyone's favorite giant turtle, Oscar himself, the Beast of Busco. Alright, how we doing today, guys? It's been a little bit since we recorded together.
All right. It feels like it's been over
Mostly
a
your
month.
fault. Has it been over a month? I feel like it's been longer.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
over a month is relative, isn't it? Like, it could technically be a year and it's still over a month.
That is true. That is true.
Like Julius Caesar has been dead for over 70 years, and that's a true statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been alive for over a month.
Man, me too.
Also fair. I don't believe you, but
Why would you?
Relatively speaking, we're all the same age.
Pretty much. I mean, we're pretty close to each other. I think I'm the youngest.
pretty sure you are.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't hit 30 yet, so.
Don't you suck?
Or is it the ghost that lives amongst us?
Yes.
I think the real treasure was the ghosts we met along the way.
Oh my god, shut up.
All right, so Sean, why don't you tell me a little bit about Oscar here?
You know, that's an excellent question. I had a hard time finding out much about Oscar, other than that he was a snapping turtle that lived in a lake in Charbusco that weighed about 500 pounds at least. And it kind of freaked everybody out in the area because that's a really big turtle.
I mean, yeah, yeah, he is a like a giant alligator snapping turtle, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen like an actual alligator snapping turtle, like a
Yes,
regular one, and they're pretty
they're
massive.
meat.
Like I say, they're around what, like 200 pounds, 250 maybe.
Yeah,
Hmm.
180 to 200.
Yeah, yeah, they're pretty massive. But this one is what, about two and a half, three times the size of those,
I mean, that sounds like some West Virginia math.
something like that.
Yeah,
And then
Um, Yeah, we just say normal bean turtle. I remember my grandfather had his truck bed once, and I was so freaked by it, like thinking that it was just going to snap me in half. So I couldn't imagine a 500-pound one.
you said it was a regular snapping turtle.
Yeah,
Oh, and they get kind of big too.
yeah.
I
It was
suppose.
very angry. It's not want to be in the back of the truck bed.
Yeah, alligator snapping turtles are giants, and I don't like them.
I think they're fascinating.
So
I mean, I'd hate to encounter one in the wild, but I like big reptiles. Though, like there was a point in time. Oh, sorry, they're an amphibian.
yeah,
I like those
get it
too.
together, Andrew.
And at one time though, I don't know why I kind of conflated lizards and turtles, but at one point in my life, I wanted a tegu lizard, and they get to be about 5 feet long. And they're pretty naturally calm animals. They're pretty cool. I met one because I met a guy down at the park who was literally walking his lizard on a leash.
Nice.
I'm like,
Interesting.
I want to be that guy one day. I want to be the guy that takes his lizard on a walk. You know?
I mean, stopping you.
I don't own a lizard. That's about the only thing, really. I should probably work on that. But
I mean,
but as to the size of this thing, I actually have a quote here.
go on.
The quote is from Merle Leach, and he said, "I have a friend that clumb up a tree and took a picture, a movie of it, and I've often said that his head looked as big as a gallon crock, and his back looked as big as the top of an old automobile." And for people who don't know what a gallon crock is, it's a cooking pot.
Hmm.
A gallon. Uh,
You don't say.
yeah. So that's pretty massive. And its back as big as a car.
Yeah. What I
That's not
find
small.
interesting is that they weren't really like, yes, there are reported sightings, but there are no photos or otherwise evidence of this thing ever actually existing.
Yeah. It's just the rumor of the footage. because it was
Mm-hmm.
1949. Del Weingartner filmed the Beast of Busco from a tree. Uh, and the two people that saw him filming, which was Merle Leach, which I previously said, and Dally Fogel, um, said the turtle was clearly visible on the film, just beneath the water. And apparently, several people from the town saw it. However, uh, its current whereabouts, the film's current whereabouts, are unknown. So it possibly no longer exists if it ever did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same with the photos that the Life magazine reporter Mike Shea took 299 in the area and none were deemed usable. And they went to, I think, a granddaughter who owns them now, and she went through them and she couldn't find photos either. So any photos might have been even of that area at that time were all destroyed.
I mean, it was what 1949 is when most of the sightings of it occurred, right around that time period,
Right.
Yeah,
and that's what was that 70 over 70 years ago at this point. So it's a good possibility. Yeah, they just don't exist anymore.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
have the first reported sighting in 1888. So if it is a snapping turtle, their average lifespan, I think it maxes out at 100.
I think it. I think it maxes at 100 and averages 70 to 80, depending on environmental.
Yeah. In 1949, 50 years later, there was basically a massive maintenance and a very strong push for it, about by Gail Harris, who is the person who ended up buying Folk Farm, which is where the turtle was first sighted by Oscar Folk. And during that time, the press out of Fort Wayne ended up sending out a notice that attracted a bunch of people. I think it was estimated about 1,500 people came to the area in an attempt to find Oscar, which also kind of funny that we don't actually know the gender of this thing. We just assume that it's male, but it could be a female Oscar.
Not 100%.
I'm,
But they did, in one of their attempts to lure it out, they brought out a 223-pound sea turtle from Key West, Florida in May of 1949 to try to, like, basically get it to mate with her. And when that wasn't successful, they ended up butchering it, which I think is rude.
But they did
oh,
what?
They
wow.
butchered the sea turtle that they brought up from Key West.
See, I knew the first part of that story. I didn't know they butchered it. It's
I
kind of
didn't
sad.
see that. Wow,
Yeah.
that's horrifying.
I mean, good eating though. I mean, I've never had turtle soup, but I've heard it's really good. So,
Right. I mean, like, and back then, how often are people from Indiana going to get to try sea turtle from Key West, Florida?
I mean, not very many.
See, the thing I saw they did, and I didn't get a lot of explanation on this, but apparently they tried to run a motorboat across the entire surface of the lake to try and disrupt up it and bring it to the surface,
Hmm.
which didn't work because it would be lower
Which,
than.
yeah, which we also didn't mention how big the lake this thing lived in, which they called it, Folk Lake, as it was on the Folk Farm. Um, 7 acres. It's like this is not a small body of water, right?
No.
Right. Yeah. And they even tried to drain it at some point during 1949 while they were doing all of this, but the dam ended up breaking right as it was almost, and they just a bunch of like really random miscellaneous mishaps.
Hmm.
Um, there's like an article from the Chicago Tribune that talks about the diver that they tried to get to find it in March of that year. Will Rigsby, local diver, made unsuccessful attempts to explore the pond in a diving suit from Chicago. Rigsby went down once in 10 feet of water, but had to emerge immediately because of a leaking safety valve in his helmet. Tried again, but gave up when an air compressor borrowed from a local village proved unable to maintain adequate pressure.
Hmm.
Well then,
It's
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
They also tried to shock it out of the water with an electrical gadget that was made by a Bill Kerr who was friends with Gale, but it ended up failing. And then I guess he tried to make like a bigger one. I didn't see anything about how successful that was.
Yeah, there's several attempts I have here, quotes of when they tried to tried to catch it. I'm gonna read this one, which I thought I don't know made me kind of chuckle. Uh, so it was all right, and this quote is recounted by Helen Harris, who's one of the folks who've cited it multiple times,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, "We thought we had it in a cage, but they failed to make the cage big enough to go over the whole turtle, and they had one side all in there fine, but on the other side, where the cage came, it was right on its back. We had put rails around it close enough. We thought it would hold till morning, and they was gonna make another cage larger to put over top of it. But the next morning, the rails were pushed aside and the turtle was gone. So
Unfortunate.
that they tried to put a big old cage in the water to catch it, but it was too small. So I said, okay, well, fine, we got half of it in there, so we're going to build an even bigger cage to put over top of that and catch it. And then the turtle was gone by the time they had the other cage ready.
See, they tried all of these different things, but did they pull in the Master of Disguise because he was very turtly for the Turtle Club?
I knew you were going to make that reference. I knew you were going to say something about the Turtle Club.
I don't know. They tried a lot of stuff. I mean, at one
They tried to
point,
drain the lake twice, from what I read.
yeah. Anything on the second time? So I know was it the first time the dam broke or the second time?
I think it
First
might have been the
time.
second time. I know the current owners won't let anybody do anything to the lake.
Well, the turtle's probably dead by now.
I don't
That was
know.
that
I've
was that was definitely a thought that was passed.
I mean I think it's still hiding down in there.
I mean, that would be a very old turtle.
I mean, we've seen real old turtles, though.
Yeah, but snapping
Sea
turtles
turtles,
aren't
which can
supposed
live
to be that
a
old.
long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're also just assuming that it was a snapping turtle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes if it was an alligator snapping turtle. Alligator snapping turtles are about 45 years, so even less than a snapping turtle.
Yeah. I mean, it could just be some weird amalgamation. I mean, maybe it came before alligator snapping turtles existed, like a dinosaur. It's just
Yeah,
really really old.
so maybe it's a dinosaur.
And isn't that like the explanation
Everything is a
for
dinosaur if you go
Nessie?
back far enough.
Right.
Nessie isn't real.
You're fired. Um. Anyway, though, but that's like the explanation behind her, right? It's like, oh, it's just the old, whatever dinosaur that was. I can't remember at this time.
Uh-huh.
Not a Leopleurodon, I don't think. It's, it's one of the others that I can't think of.
Magical Leopard, Charlie.
Yeah, that's what. When I think of dinosaurs, for some reason, that's what pops in my head is the Charlie the Unicorn pit.
You can't see it, but I'm face palming both of you right now.
As you should. I face palm earlier Ashton when I looked up a clip from Master of Disguise because I watched that movie far too many times for
Hmm.
how stupid it was.
Movie has a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's so bad.
It's awful. But Turtle Enough for the Turtle Club is iconic.
Yeah. So, Sean, I think what you might have seen is when they attempted to drain a different lake.
That might be it.
Because in 1950, there was another giant turtle reported in a swamp at Black Oak, which is about 100 miles from Busco. It was reported by Lake County surveyor Samuel E. Brownston and farmer Henry Ewan, who were
Apologies to any of
draining.
our listeners for this area. We pronounce this horribly.
Yeah, who were draining the swamp using a 30-foot culvert into the Little Calumet River. when they noticed a large animal swimming towards them. Brownston described it as a turtle. Its head was as big as a human's, and Ewan stated it was too big to even get into the 30-inch drain. Sorry, it's a 30-inch culvert, not a 30-foot.
That's a big culvert.
Still, yeah, 30 inch is still a big culvert, yeah.
That's a massive. That's a massive culvert.
Yeah.
Well, 2.5 feet. That's a decent sized culvert.
Yeah. It was too big to even get into the 30-inch drain. I tried to help it. I pushed on its shell, but man, when I saw the size of that thing, I knew I didn't want to tangle with it. It was as big as a beer barrel. It could snap your hand off in a second. His head is 6 inches across, and he could hold a big orange in his mouth. At first, I thought it was an old moss-covered log. He had so much moss on him, it looked like he was wearing a fur coat. I put my hand on him, thinking it was a log. Then he stuck his head out and looked me right in the eye. Gave me a turn. It would me too, buddy.
Yep.
Big old thing, his head as big as mine. Yeah, it turned around and looked at me, like, all right, I'm gonna scoot on out of here, you know.
You know, the way that Southerners and like Appalachian, like whatever folks describe things is just awesome. They just go into so much like, man, you should have seen it. Like I it was this and then it ended up being this and oh my goodness.
Oh
It's
yeah,
great. I love it. It's just it's so extra.
It is the most
it is.
weirdly specific, and unintelligible way of describing something possible, and yet somehow it makes sense.
Yeah, that's like the. I mean, even the. This is the different. It's a smaller turtle. Maybe not. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he just
Yeah.
traveled 100 miles. I mean, turtles are much faster than people think. Um.
That's fair. I've seen snapping turtles hunt. Those things are ridiculous.
Oh, here we go. I'm gonna go and read the rest of this little excerpt just because he named it.
Of
uh,
course he did.
According to Ewan, it resembled an alligator snapping turtle, except that its shell felt sort of smooth and rubbery. He nicknamed it Methuselah on account of its assumed old age, and admitted that the encounter had scared him enough to persuade him to not go looking for the turtle. Named it old Methuselah.
I can't
Methuselah.
believe I can't believe they just assumed that turtle's age.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know if turtles really stop growing. So I guess I mean it makes sense, right? For it to be that big, they'd have to assume it's pretty old.
Either that or it was a baby of a much, much more giant turtle.
Maybe that's a good possibility too. Uh,
So
yeah,
one thing that we haven't talked about is the Turtle Days, the summer festival that started in 1950 because of this guy.
tell me
That is
about it.
one of the longest standing town festivals in Indiana, and it was started by 18 local civic groups to include turtle races, parade, and the election of a turtle queen.
No, that's pretty cool. I think. Oh, sorry. That's pretty cool. I think we should head up there at some point. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did
What, are
not
we
look
going to try
into.
and get Ashton to be the turtle queen?
Exactly. That's the plan.
Well, see, I
Or
did look
you? That
into it.
would
I
work.
don't know if the turtle queen is human or a turtle.
Oh, I mean, we guess we could put like a bunch of green paint on you. Hey guys, it's Andrew once again. I don't really have anything to sell you guys today. I'm not going to push the shop. I'm not going to push any of our merch on you. However, I did want to say this. In the description of every single episode that we release, we put our email, which is the Night Scholars Podcast at gmail.com. Uh, if you guys would, we'd love to hear from you. You know, you can send us an email really just saying hi, but what we really want is stories from you guys. If you have any encounters that you've had with, you know, the paranormal, the supernatural, with uh, cryptids, creatures like Bigfoot, Mothman, the Beast of Busco, right? If you have anything like that, we would love to hear about it, and maybe possibly one day do a special episode of listener stories. That's all I have, though. You guys enjoy the rest of the episode, and thanks for taking the time to listen.
I didn't even hear a single word that you said because my brain just automatically started singing the lyrics to Defying Gravity as soon as that you were gonna paint me green.
Exactly. We'll do that. We'll put a big old turtle shell on your back. Kind of like Master Roshi, right? The training of the turtle
Yep.
hermit school. But
Although I figured Ash would start singing more of Glinda's songs than Elphaba because she is absolutely Glinda.
I haven't seen the Wicked movie yet. I do plan on it. Just have not done it yet.
It's so good.
It really is.
Good. Support your local green people.
Oh yeah.
I mean, really, to sum up, the Beast of Busco, support your local green people.
There you go.
Yeah. Uh, so even the Beast of Busco's size may not be super exaggerated, even because in I don't have the year here, but in Kansas, uh, allegedly a 403-pound turtle, possibly an alligator snapping turtle, I don't know, but a turtle, was reported to have been caught in. Did I already say Kansas? Yeah, a 403
Yes.
pound turtle was allegedly caught in Kansas years back. So I mean, it is possible, right, for them to get that big. Like it's unusual. Extraordinary, but
So that's a well-fed turtle.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Indiana on a farm probably gets good food. I mean, he just got to stick his head up out of there, maybe snatch up a goat or something, or I don't know if turtles eat meat.
Alligator snapping turtles, I believe, do. Let me double check. I don't know. Think so.
I mean, if it does too, I mean, maybe it's eating snakes. I keep slipping my accent. Maybe it eats snakes though because they're like what is it, the old eastern water snakes. They get
Mm-hmm.
fairly big, not giant or nothing, but they get decent sized.
I've article on the on a Alabama alligator snapping turtle,
Oh yeah.
and I thought it was very funny that they were like, impressive is one way of putting it. The turtles can live to be more than 100 years old and weigh more than some SEC linebackers.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Like, of course, they would have to throw in, they can weigh more than some SEC linebackers because
Exactly.
Wait,
Put
alligator
a
snapping turtles have been found in Iowa. That is insane.
yeah. Yeah. They apparently get around. I mean, who knows? Maybe Oscar's just not in Busco anymore. Maybe he moved on and that's why they can't find him.
I mean, based on every description we have of this thing, which admittedly isn't very much, alligator snapping turtle does make the most sense.
It does, and it's just a extraordinarily big one.
Legendary is the way somebody described it.
Yeah. I mean, but with a 400-pound one being caught, I mean that definitely leads me to believe that it is possible for one to get as big to weigh 500 pounds. Like it is a
It's
possibility.
it's. I looked into it and said this one was caught in 1937. So if it was Oscar, he made his way over to Indiana and gained another 100 pounds in those 12 years.
They caught him and he got away.
Yep.
I like that idea, and he traveled on over to Indiana.
Oh, how ridiculous! But hey, if it is a cryptid and not just a really big turtle, then it might still be around.
I mean, the term cryptid is just an animal that we haven't proved exists. Or a
You
creature
have a
that
fair point
we
there.
haven't been able to prove exists. I mean, the platypus was a cryptid at one point.
Don't
still
correct
think the
Sean, he's supposed to be
platypus.
the head of family research.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
He
just saying, most cryptids we deal with have some sort of
supernatural aspect.
magic.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, the platypus is absolutely a living cryptid. That thing just does not make any sense. That's an entirely another story.
I heard about this one that became a secret agent one time. It was pretty cool.
The facepalm has returned.
Yeah, Phineas is the best.
It is a good show. But all right, I don't think I have anything else on this thing today. Do you
Nope,
guys?
I
I
do
got nothing.
not.
All right, Sean, do you believe in the Beast of Busco?
Going into this episode, I would have said no. After discussing this, I'm gonna say still no.
All right. What
Oh my
about you,
god.
Ashton?
I believe absolutely could have been a turtle. Was whether it was 500 pounds, I don't think so, but it could have been a giant turtle. Why
Yeah.
not?
I mean, they were
I
just
believe in the female Oscar.
yeah. I mean, they were just estimating its weight based on appearance. So I mean, it could have been uh, could have not been actually 500 pounds.
What about
Uh,
you, Ian?
I believe in the Beast of Busco. I
Well,
think
I'm
it
glad one of us
exists.
does.
I don't know if it's still in the same lake and just really good at hiding, or if it's somewhere else. But I love Oscar, and I would die for Oscar.
Well,
Seems a bit
Oscar's
dramatic,
probably
but
dead, so
We need to give him a
you can go ahead
tomato.
and die.
We need to give him a really big tomato, like that video of that one turtle eating a tomato. And with that, folks, that's all we got.
Into our top on Spotify, we appreciate the heck out of you.
We do, and if we were your top show of 2024, please do let us know on our social medias. But other than that, from us to you, happy holidays.
and watch out for the Mary Lloyd.
Thank you again, our ghosts and goblins, for listening to the Night Stories. You all be good to each other. Don't answer the scratching at your window.
Or do.
But most importantly, stay safe out there.
Good night.